Okay, so apparently I am live. Let's talk a little bit about Guardians of the Galaxy. All right. The Obviously I didn't announce or I didn't put up a date when this thing was going to go up and whatnot, but I did say in my last podcast that I would be doing a morning thing at about 9:30. It's 9:30. It just turned 9:36, so that's pretty good timing. Anyway, yeah, sorry if I'm a little slow. Just going to start this video off this way. First off, there will be some spoilers in this just because it's hard to talk about the movie and not also do some spoilers. So please understand, there will be some spoilers, but I'm not going to sit here and describe the ending of the movie and all that stuff. I will talk about the end credits scenes, though. It's hard not to. There's nothing that kills the movie in that regard, really. Almost. Okay, so yeah, anyway, I am a little bit off. Sorry, I had to move one of those giant-sized, double-sized Craftmatic adjustable beds last night from, yeah, just top of a senior home down out to the truck and then up a flight of stairs with a bend in it and, it's a landing and no help. So, yeah, that's a problem. When you're a big guy, people are going to ask you to move furniture. Well, whatever. Anyway, I did get my. I really like this thing, and I'm going to try and find a place to put this. I don't have a lot of room, but I'm going to try and find a place to put this thing. This is gorgeous, isn't it? I love the artwork on this. This is great. The actual creation and or destruction of a world at the same time. Absolutely love that. Also, yeah, I'm the guy who goes and gets these little. I like to buy the cups. I've been drinking out my Doctor Strange cup for a while. Now I'll be drinking out my Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 cup. And I got these three Pop Tops, the Groot in the middle, the Rocket Raccoon, and the Gamora. I figured that Drax and Peter Quill will not go as fast. Well, whatever. I figured that Rocket and Groot would go the fastest. So, yeah. But I was getting three, so I grabbed the two that I figured would go the fastest, and then I grabbed Gamora. If I go back a third time to see the film or something else and they still have these, yeah, I'll probably grab Peter and Drax also. But anyway, so to talk about the movie in and of itself. Okay. This was, as far as I'm concerned, honestly, it was as good as the first one. All right, so and it wasn't wash, rinse, repeat. I'm going to quite literally say, if you loved the first one, you will love the second one. It's literally like that. It's not a carbon copy. They do bring back the same love and fun adventure of these a-holes. But, they James Gunn does it in a different way. The characters are not the same characters in the sense of just cookie cutter, wash, rinse, and repeat. They are those roles again. They got back into their roles and they made a different movie. And that's what they did, and it was awesome. It was awesome. There were no dance-offs in this one. They didn't... So literally, they didn't just, say, okay, here's the old movie, carbon copy, over here, and just change a couple things aesthetically. No, they actually made a different movie. Very good. James Gunn is a very creative guy, and I like the idea that they're kind of getting off of his shoulders, getting off his back. They already chased away Joss Whedon, by, stuffing so much on him. It kind of stinks. I think that honestly, with what they did to him, they could have said to him, you know what, Joss, here's the thing. The next Marvel movie you make is going to be your movie, okay? We're going to interfere as little as possible and just go ahead and make your own movie. And I bet you who would have just made a Black Widow movie, and we could have all been happy and ecstatic. All right? But whatever. He's going to make Batgirl, and he's still going to have fun doing that, and that's going to be awesome. But in the meantime, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It started off right away with the action. This is probably the only thing that was really cookie cutter, but not really. It was I can't even call it cookie cutter. I can't do that. They started off with a very familiar scene, and the idea that here are all the guys. They're down here on this planet, the planet of the Sovereign. That's where Aisha is. Go and check out her. I've made a video for Aisha, explained in a minute. So if you want to know about Aisha in the comic books, Boom, there you go. All right, you saw her in the movie. You want to know what she's all about in the comic books? Go and check that out. And what do you call it? You have I actually put the playlist up, so you can be able to see all of my. The most recent one I did was Boba Fett, but yeah, you can go back and see all of them. And the Guardians of the Galaxy ones, you go and look in the description, and you'll see all the Guardians of the Galaxy related characters right there. You just literally click, click, click right through them and get an idea of all those characters. I haven't done Krugar yet. He makes a cameo in an end credit scene. And I haven't done, who's the other one I didn't do yet? There was one more. Oh, the Watchers. I didn't do the Watchers. Let me explain Krugar really quick, first off. Krugar is just, he's the Sorcerer Supreme in the future. That's it. Literally. And then that aside, the Watchers. The Watchers are literally the Watchers. I'm going to get into that more because that's actually really cool. But anyway, we start off the scene with they're on the planet of the Sovereign, and this big interdimensional monster, this creature, comes down to attack them, and they have to fight it off. Some really funny scenes, but when it first comes down, Rocket was originally started off doing he was trying to set up music and saying, Quill likes music. Peter Quill likes music. What do you want? So Peter and Drax are like, that's not a priority right now. And so he's like, all right, fine, I'll leave it. Meanwhile, Groot, who's still a baby Groot, he's still a little baby Groot in the entire movie until the end credit. Baby Groot goes and he puts together the amplifier, and the music starts. So while the beginning credits are rolling, you do get to see a lot of fun action, like the off-camera action almost. It's great the way they did it. Like, it's just so perfect. So perfect, literally, how they were able to get the, like, once in a while somebody will be fighting, and you'll see it'll be a background. So Gamora will be like trying to fly out over on this side with her rocket pack, and Groot also with his, Rocket with his rocket pack. Everybody trying to get out to the side, and then they get caught by a tentacle and slammed down or smacked away, and just, smack their heads and whatnot. It's actually really funny the way they pull that off. And the entire time in the foreground, with the music playing, there's Groot doing his dancing. So just like in the beginning of the first movie where they're doing the opening credits and Peter Quill is dancing and he's kicking and he grabs the one little monster and he's like singing into the monster's face and whatnot, like it's a microphone. It's kind of like that. But it's very, very different, in and of itself. And it's so fun to watch, and it's a great tone for starting off the movie. So, and then the movie just progresses from that point. And a lot of the scenes that you see, here's the thing that I was afraid of. James Gunn showed so many scenes in between the TV spots and the movie reveals and the trailers and the teaser trailers and all that stuff. And yet, you didn't see half of the movie. You really didn't. There's so much in this that's just great. It's just great. You can't tell how the movie's going to go just from the trailers alone. You can get a good idea of, because it's not the most detailed, greatest plot in the world, but it just runs so smoothly. It's not what, even the first one, it wasn't made to be like, the movie where everybody's going to go, wow, it was so deep and meaningful. No, that's not what this movie's about. It's about having a really good time and seeing these characters. There's some nostalgia in this. There's actually more nostalgia in this for old school comic book fans than the first one, which is pretty cool. The villain, Ego. My wife actually had it, and yes, villain is the Ego. Ego is the villain. My wife actually really wanted me to address this, and I can't blame her. Still suffers from a very similar or same problem that the other Marvel movies face. That aside from Loki, the villains are kind of one-dimensional. You know what I'm saying? Two-dimensional at best. Is very cool getting to see Peter's backstory in this. Very different from the comics. Very different. Ego's history is different than in the comics. And I'm totally okay with it. Because it still sticks. It doesn't stick entirely with the comic book lore, but what changes from the comic book lore refers back to the first movie's lore. So it's still steeped in lore. It's still great the way that it is. So I was very pleased with the villain in and of himself, but it's not like a particularly deep villain. It's one of those things where, like, little things where it's like, okay, if you were just paying attention, that wouldn't have happened. You get it? The thing that goes wrong for the villain was very easily avoidable, is what it is. And then there's like a no forgiveness policy afterwards, which is good. Again, it's not supposed to be a deep movie, you know? But it's not surface either. It's just, you go there to have a good time. If you're going to be thinking too much, that's the kind of thing, you know, that I was trying to explain to my wife. If you go in there expecting that you're going to see Maleficent from the original Sleeping Beauty movie, you know, where it's like, wow, that's a deep character. Wow, it's such a great evil character. There's so much lore back in it. You're not going to get that. All right, that's just not, it's not the way that it works here. There's a great backstory for Ego. There's so much around it. Like there's a good reason. There's a reason for every single person in this movie to be in this movie. There's no reason for anybody to not be in this movie, except the end credits, the after credits, the end credits, and all that stuff. There you'll find a character or two who doesn't really need to be in the movie. Case in point, Mainframe, who I did and explained in a minute. There's actually 2 different versions of Mainframe, and I covered them both in about a minute. In one of my videos that you'll see. Mainframe, she was voiced by Miley Cyrus. It was literally just like a little thing, whatever. She says, wow, I missed you guys so much. That's it. And it's just a head. And it actually looks like Doctor Who, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name right now. What the heck is the thing? Cybermen. It looks like a Cybermen helmet, you know? So... cool. I didn't have any, literally. It was one of those things where it's like it could have been in there. It didn't have to be in there. He did it for himself, you know, and let the guy do it for himself. It's not a big deal, whatever. And now we can officially say that Miley Cyrus is a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't have a problem with that. What do you call it? If there was one character who, I don't know about didn't belong in the movie, but I get a bad taste in my mouth when I... Okay, let's just wait. Just Sylvester Stallone, all right? I love Sylvester Stallone in Rocky. Nobody else could have played Rocky. That's just my opinion, honestly. I don't believe that Robert De Niro could have played Rocky. I don't believe that anybody else could have ever played Rocky. He is still alive. He's the best damn Rocky you could ever possibly imagine. You know, Rocky Balboa. So, boom. As far as Rambo, yeah, other people could have played Rambo, but he did the job so well. Especially like, you know, the part 2 and on were all just, you know, bloodletting movies, whatever. But that first Rambo movie was actually really deep. All right, and maybe it's specifically the very end of the movie is extremely deep. I can actually get choked up, no joke, watching that first movie because I know so many people from Vietnam, so many people, you know, from the Vietnam War. And yeah, these are stories that they tell. And reading the book, the original book that came out about it, you know, that's the book that the movie was based on. It actually goes into it even more. And it's a really, maybe that's why. It's more than just, you know, it's not nostalgia for me. It's more like hearing people's stories and then seeing it related on film dramatically. Really good stuff. Anyway, the reason why I'm talking up Sylvester Stallone so much is because I hate the idea of Sylvester Stallone coming anywhere near a comic book movie after he did Judge Dredd. All right? When push comes to shove, as great as Sylvester Stallone can be in a really meaningful role when he chooses to be in a meaningful role, he's a freaking prima donna. All right, you got to see my face. You got to see. That's the money shot right there. You got to see the face. You know, and just, I don't want to see you anywhere near one of my comic book movies. I despise him. I go from loving what he does to despising Sylvester Stallone. in this movie, and he plays Starhawk. All right, I did Starhawk explained in a minute. You will also see Alita in this movie. She doesn't look anything like Alita Orgord, but I do explain her in the Starhawk video. So it's a fairly it's like a 2-minute something video about Starhawk, but whatever, literally deal with it. I'm explaining 2 different characters in a Gestalt in that particular video. So anyway, Sylvester Stallone pissed me off to no extent in the first Judge Dredd movie. Even though I'm a comic book enthusiast and I have read some Judge Dredd before, I never went back to a Judge Dredd book for years after I saw that Judge Dredd movie. Like, he ruined it. He had the mask on, the helmet, for a couple of minutes, and then he took it off. He had to show his face the whole time. Meanwhile, comic book readers, avid comic book readers, people who've read every single issue of Judge Dredd have no idea what his face looks like. No idea what his face looks like above the nose. From the nose and above. No idea, because he never takes off the mask. It doesn't happen, And then the Dredd movie, one of these days I think I'm going to go back and look at, watch comic book movies and then review them and just talk about them, because my love for comic books and the movies. Carl Urban, all right, did the hands down best job. That was Dredd. All right, if you have never read a Judge Dredd comic book before and you want to know if you're going to like it, go and watch Dredd. Judge Dredd, starring Sylvester Stallone, sucks. Dredd, starring Carl Urban, that is Judge Dredd. That's who he is. You're not going to find a better representation of him outside of the comic books than the comic books themselves. Sylvester Stallone himself, no. Just the only time you'll ever not see his face is when he's got his shirt off and he wants to flex his back muscles by firing an M60, away. Like it's a point of view over the shoulder, He's always got to show his face. So just the idea that he didn't come up, I think it would have been great if he would have had the helmet on, the mask on and everything for Starhawk. If he would have done that, it would have made me like him more and say, okay, fine, you can come back to comic book movies again. But he hasn't been allowed back in a comic book movie since he ruined Judge Dredd. I want to say he single-handedly ruined it, but Rob Schneider was in that movie also. I'm done talking about that. So, anyway, yeah. Not only did he not add to the movie, he seriously detracted from the movie. I couldn't watch the scene. There was a good scene where you saw how Yondu was taken out of it, taken out of the major thing of the Ravagers. Is the one part in the very beginning where he just, I guess he had sex, with a robot chick who, whatever. And he's just he's just realizing that his life isn't what he wanted to be. All the stuff that we would think is cool today, he turns around and he's like, hey, Lewis, Geek Fortress, I am Groot. Dick Fillmore just showed up. Can you start over? I don't think I know you that well, and I don't like you. I'm joking. That was good. He actually puts a funny emoji there. First off, guys, anybody who's going back and watching this, Lewis from the Geek Fortress is in the chat right now. Harass him. I want you to harass him and harangue him, because this is my morning podcast. I'm going to do something else tonight. But what do you call it? Next week at about this time slot, I'm kind of hoping that Lewis from the Geek Fortress we already had a private conversation on Facebook where he seems to have changed his opinion on Batman v Superman. Just a little bit. Let's say he tweaked it. He didn't flip-flop. He tweaked it, all right? He readjusted his negotiating policies, all right? And he wants to talk about, or I want to talk about Batman vs. Superman with him. That's what I want my next week podcast to be, just he and I talking. You go and check out the Geek Fortress on Facebook. You go and check out the Geek Fortress on YouTube, all right? Guy does what I do. He just does it over there, and he can do it parla español, all right? So yeah, check him out, and I want you to go over there, and he's got I didn't actually watch it yet, Lewis. Give me a minute. I didn't watch his Guardians of the Galaxy 1-minute review, but what I want everybody to do is to go to the Guardians of the Galaxy 1-minute review on the Geek Fortress on YouTube and put up there, harass him and say, do a podcast with Bill next week, with Professor Bill next week, all right? I want you to harass him and don't give him a moment's rest. Make him respond to every single one of those videos because I want to have a conversation about BVS next week, all right? That's what I want to do. All right, so gotta say, man, the movie was good. However, the first one I enjoyed more, including the soundtrack. I got you, Lewis. I got you. Ninja Atrocity TV, dude, awesome name. Which is what most people say. Gotcha. I got you. You're talking about the Sylvester Stallone thing, I think. Thomas BDL, hey there. Have you talked about Zardu? No, I have not. No, I have not. Okay. First off, you know what? It's not much of a spoiler. David Hasselhoff is in the movie. All right? And, man, you actually... What did you do? Like, you actually wrote down the name? That was freaking great, man. That's awesome. Thomas. So, Gamora... Gamora goes and mentions, what's that story you told me about? How did she pronounce that? Zardu Hasselfru. And at one point, he's just like, what the hell are you talking about? And you know, come on, everybody here knows that feeling, all right? Everybody here knows that feeling. When somebody half remembers something you say, and they're talking about it, and you're just like, wait, what are you talking about? What? And you're like, wait, you mean David Hasselhoff or whatever? It's like, oh yeah, that's the one. You're like, are you kidding? How did you confuse one thing with the other? And Drax actually has a moment like that, talking about the batteries that Rocket and he stole in the from the Sovereign in the beginning. So there's actually two scenes like that, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. So later on, basically, Peter talks about how he used to always tell people, and he has an old picture of David Hasselhoff as Michael Knight with Kit, Knight Rider. I used to love that show. I grew up in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, absolutely, man. He used to say that was his father because he didn't know who his father was. And yeah, there's some really good, really funny movies, really good funny scenes in this, which are just, they're absurdly funny. All right, let's move on. Okay, Geek Fortress will defend his opinion next week. All right, so you're going to do a live podcast with me on my channel next week. All right, good. BVS was okay, but a lot was boring. Agreed, Dick Fillmore. It was boring in a certain sense, but I want to talk about, first off, aesthetically, it was one of the most beautiful movies ever. It was dark as hell, and you need to shine a flashlight on the damn movie to be able to see it, but we're not going to talk too much about it right now, but I do want to say it was a beautiful movie. Some of the scenery in that movie, it was amazing. But I'm talking about the plot itself and the fact that you have the three most popular, recognizable superheroes in the world, right? People who don't even know anything about Superman can recognize that damn S, all right, or the bat symbol, or Wonder Woman in all her gorgeousness and her underwear. So and yet somehow this movie was, in my opinion, effing ruined. So that's what I want to talk about. Challenge accepted, Professor. I'll see you next Saturday. Awesome. Ninja Atrocity TV. It's a DC film. Of course, it's boring. That's messed up. That's messed up, man. Sorry, The Dark Knight was boring? Come on, man. Come on. Thomas, I've been listening to that end credit song ever since I saw the movie. I know, right? That's Cat Stevens. And I like, in the very end, first off, I'm going to talk about that for a moment. For a while, Cat Stevens changed his name to Yusuf Islam. He became a Sufi Muslim. For a while, and he stopped doing music, and then he went back to doing music. Then he went back to Cat Stevens, and so it's funny. They say written by Yusuf Islam, performed by Cat Stevens. They're both the same person, but he called himself Yusuf Islam at the time. So yeah, it's actually he wrote and performed his own song. That's just trivia. But yes, it really is a freaking amazing song, and of course. Guys, Baby Groot was the star of this, all right? The star of the entire damn movie. Like, there's one part where you actually hear him cry like a baby when he's getting hurt. And you see him being tortured. Yeah, he actually gets tortured. Not like, zap torture, but like some people are actually haranguing him, and it's messed up. And you like the feels just they get sucked out of you like a freaking alien, coming out your chest cavity. But like, yeah, there's the one part where it's almost like a father and son moment. They actually have two father and son moments between Peter Quill and Groot. The other one is in the end credits. So, what do you call it? He's sitting there at the very end, and he's listening to this father and son song. It's Cat Stevens, man. All of his songs, for the most part, are like tearjerkers, And he's sitting there, and Groot kind of looks up to him like this, and he's listening to the song, and he pulls out the one earbud and puts it down to his ear, and they both start listening. Groot just does his face. He's like, and it's just so like, oh, I want a baby Groot. I want a baby Groot so bad. You know what? This one is not enough. I want an actual, this is the only bobblehead, whatever these things, pop figures. This is the only one that I own. And I actually bought two. The other one I gave to my daughters. But, what do you call it? Anyway, so, yeah, man, like, really good stuff. Really good stuff in here. Sorry, I'm missing some stuff. Okay, the end credit song. Dick Fillmore, you think Stan Lee is a watcher or the... Hey! Stop talking so much, guys. Or the stranger. Oh, no, he's neither. He's Stan Lee. He's Stan Lee, or at least the ultimate cameo man. He was talking with that's the end credit scene, which, first off, a lot of people, here's the thing. First, a lot of people were saying, I thought that the Watcher would be owned by the Fantastic Four because he had so much to do with the Fantastic Four. The Watcher and his entire story, which essentially has never changed, actually originally started off in one of the original four comics. There was, before there was the Fantastic Four comic, they already had monster and horror comics. Tales to Astonish, which eventually became Thor. Strange Tales, which eventually became Doctor Strange. Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. was also in there. Tales to Astonish. Yes, Astonishing Tales became Thor. Sorry, my bad. Tales to Astonish, eventually heralded the beginning of Ant-Man and Giant Man. Same character, but whatever. He did Yellow Jacket in the Avengers. But it also had the Hulk. When the Hulk only had 6 issues in his comic book before he got canceled. Yeah, the Hulk got canceled. And then he showed up in the pages of Tales to Astonish. And then eventually Namor came back into the main fray, and he was in there also. And then there was also, I forget which one I didn't mention yet, Tales of Suspense, which was the origin, the beginning of Iron Man, and it eventually became the Captain America comic. So that's where the numbering actually went to, which is why you'll find Captain America issue number 100, or is it 101? Whatever. I think issue number 100, but you won't see an issue 99. It's because those were those Tales of Suspense issues. But in one of those, and I think it was Tales... I can't remember which one. I think it was the Ant-Man one, where they had the original story of the Watcher and the Watchers. So the Watchers are... I'm going to have to do an explained in a minute video about the Watchers, but right now... Yeah, the Watchers are basically just people who, literally, they watch. They have a code of non-interference. So, like, Star Trek, they have the Prime Directive. They take this to the nth degree. People could be murdered right in front of them. They're like, that sucks. I'm really just supposed to record it. And the reason why they're recording things is because originally there was the argument with the Watchers, and Uatu's father was very particular with the idea that if you interfere with people's lives, you actually change them radically, and they'll just start wars and kill each other, and it'll spread outwards, and all sorts of really bad things can happen. And if you don't believe that's true, just look at the origin of the Kree Skrull, the Kree and the Skrull Wars. The Kree the Skrull were actually a benevolent, peaceful race. Could you imagine that? And it was because of the Kree that they became distrusting of every other species ever. That's in the comics. But yeah, so Uatu the Watcher, they didn't have Uatu specifically, but they did have all of the Watchers there. They had 3, talking to Stan Lee, who was in a spacesuit, and he was literally talking about all of his experiences before. So that time, I was a mailman. So it's almost like, yeah, like the Stranger, I hear what you're saying. It's a weird thing. It's like he's just had all these different lives that he's led. You know what I'm saying? Or he's some kind of a chameleon figure. I don't know. Maybe they'll actually make a new character like that. But that was that was not just an end credit scene, that was in the movie itself. He had those 2 scenes. And yeah, that was just the best. That was the best. So this way he can cover, if he's ever going to go to a DC film, which he's open to doing, he would go over there and do something and just that. This way it kind of covers everything, all the lives that he's led. So yeah, really good point. What else do we got here? Stanley's the Watcher. Yeah, Watcher. Yes, sir. How far are we going on spoilers here? Honestly, live chat as far as you want. You guys dictate. I don't have a problem. Are we ripping? Oops, sorry. What am I missing here? Okay. Peter Kent, are we ripping DC a new a-hole here? No, it's not my intent to do that. I love DC. That's the thing, guys. A lot of people, you have Marvel fans, DC fans. I say it all the time, and some people are like, I'm sure that Lewis is sick and tired of hearing me say that from the Geek Fortress, that I am a comic book fan. I love all things comics. Thomas BDL, sadly I gotta go now. Mother-in-law is coming over for brunch. Go take care of business, my man. Glad to finally have caught you live. I'll be watching your entire review tonight. Keep up the great videos, man. Well, I will try. Muchas gracias, mi hombre. Ninjatrocity TV. We should... Oh, boom, up. Yes, we should. We should. Okay, we'll see what we can do. No, I'm not going to rip DC. I'm happy to rip Zack Snyder a new a-hole, and anybody else who screws up a DC movie. Like, I've got a lot to talk about with the Flash movie coming up. What the hell? But I've got a lot to talk about them purposely going about their way contracting movies so that you can have... The reason why the Arrow TV show got screwed up for so long is because they said, oh, well, we're going to do, what's his name, Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, over in a movie, so you got to stop using him in the TV show. That was one of the best things about the TV show. We saw that in the very opening, in one of the opening scenes, I think it was the opening scene, Season 1, Episode 1 of Arrow on that island, you got to see the mask of Slade Wilson, right, pinned up, and we're all just like, holy crap, this is actually going to happen. And that became like the show. Stephen Amell like exploded to popularity. Awesome actor, all that good stuff. Forget about it. And then DC, Warner Brothers in itself comes along and says, yeah, we're going to license that out, and the movies have priority over the TV shows. Why can't you have both? Now they have both. What do you call it? The original actor for Slade Wilson is coming back to the TV show. He's going to be Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, and we're going to do it again because DC finally, that's the sound of them pulling their head out of their butts. But, yeah, I have a lot to say about, individual things like that, but ripping DC in and of itself, there's some things I can rip DC for, but there are also some things I can rip Marvel for, and that's usually on the way that they treat their employees. That being said, let's see, what is Marvel Oh, that's just mean. Okay, Ninjatrocity TV. To be honest, I feel that they should tone down on Drax's humor. I hear you, but I didn't really have a problem with Drax's humor. I thought it was good. Why can I not just scroll down on the chat itself? Okay, you know what? Screw you. So, boom. Okay. Okay, here, I can scroll like that. Okay, turned into Thor. Journey into Mystery turned into Thor. Thank you, Dick Fillmore. Yes, Journey into Mystery was right. You're right. Okay, yeah, we got that. Okay. See, that's why we're a community. Okay, Peter Kent. Hey, Professor Bill. I hear that you share my hate for Douchey Douche Snyder. Yes, I do. Not entirely. Look, 300, I saw that in regular theaters, and at the time when that movie first came out, we didn't have IMAX. IMAX, there was one IMAX theater in the world, and it was in New York, and I'm a New Jersey guy, and literally... my girl and I, we took a trek. We went on the bus to Port Authority, took the train, the subways, all that stuff, and went to that IMAX theater and a really awesome Barnes & Noble right down the street from it. We went to that IMAX theater just so that we could see 300 in the full IMAX theater with the gigantic freaking theater and all that stuff, and it was a great movie. Maybe if you weren't there in the beginning, but like seeing bullet time in The Matrix is great. the first time you see it. Now it's been done. You know what I'm saying? So anybody who's still using bullet time as the main thing is like, dude, why are you so weak like that? You know? But same thing with, Zack Snyder. At some point, try to evolve as look, he's way more successful than I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna trash that, but at some point, try to evolve in your movie making skills. My recommendation. Every single one of his movies are the exact same movie with different people playing different roles. Sometimes it's the same people playing different roles. So, yeah, that's one of the things that it bugs me about him. I love all comics too. Who said that's Dick Fillmore? My man. And Lewis agrees. That's a high opinion. I'm very scared. Lewis says, I'm very scared about the JLA movie, man. There's a childhood dream. They cannot F it up. See, that's the thing. That's one of the things that, you know what? Lewis, you and I need to talk about that in BVS. There's so much I want to talk about that. Like sticking 5 different amazing, not just comics, but comic book events into one movie and giving no breathing time to any of them. Yes. That's why I'm afraid that JLA is going to be wrong too. Because some scenes, some moments in comic book history, when you put them in a movie, you only get one first impression. So, yeah, the death and rebirth of Superman, one of the highest selling comics of all time for a reason, and they literally relegated it to an off-camera scene. Just F you, Scott Snyder. F you. No worries, Lewis, they will. Peter Kent, your sarcastic condescension. Condescending. Yes, your condescending sarcasm is very much beloved here, and Lewis is sad. There's an 83% chance of I'll F it up, Ninjatrocity, although I do have some hope for it. I do too. I'm hoping... No, because he's on it. I really don't have a lot of hope for it. I'm sorry. I don't have a lot of hope for it. You got the baddest ass version of Aquaman that we've ever seen, and then they show that scene where he's surfing and talking like Keanu Reeves in the trailer. No. This is the first time I'm actually talking about that JLA trailer also, mind you. I purposely didn't touch it because I hate throwing hate on things. I saw that and I'm like, F you, DC. F you. How dare you let this son of a gun, Zack Snyder... Like, does he have naked pictures of DC execs and Warner Brothers execs? Does he have compromising pictures of them cheating on their wives? Is that why he keeps being brought back? DC is love, DC is life. Yes, Lewis, it is. It is. DC Comics. DC Comics. The animated films, certain different things like that. The movies itself is not. Don't sugarcoat stuff for the Geek Fortress. He knows DC is buttons. Peter Kent, you're evil. Let's see. All comics are life. Okay, Lewis, at that point, that's like discussing Black Lives Matters versus All Lives Matters. If all lives mattered, then they wouldn't have a problem with black people saying Black Lives Matter. Just saying. So, all right. Lewis says, Bill, 300 was probably one of my most favorite experiences. They actually played it in one day in the Dome IMAX in the Science Center. Nice. Yeah, I agree. It was amazing. Writes down topics. Yes, write those down, Lewis. We got issues to discuss. What can I say? I'm an a-hole. Peter Kent, man. Ninjatrocity, I'm just confused why they don't have my boy. Haha. What boy? Who are you talking about? Respond. Answer. Dick Fillmore. Okay, and everybody's just laughing at this point. There's apparently a delay, so I'm literally trying to remember the things that I'm saying, and I'm like reacting on the spot. So, yeah, Peter Kent. Ninjatrocity, I'm confused why they don't have my boy. Hal Jordan. Oh! Come on, because they don't have Hal Jordan in it because he's Deadpool? No, well, he's also Hannibal King over in Blade 3. You know, shoot, forget about it. But no, they don't have him because they're afraid of. Here's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to talk a little bit about politics here. How come politicians don't understand that in America? I'm in Canada right now. I've got universal health care. All right? And no, we do not have long freaking lines here. In fact, we have more doctors here than more like local clinics. Like, I know that the crap that they try and sell you in the bubble that is America, all right? You got You don't have long lines, particularly long lines in the ERs. You don't want to go to ER. You got private doctors you can go to. You got walk-in clinics you can go to. There's so many different places you can go into, and literally you walk in and just boom. When my wife is Canadian, all right, I'm becoming Canadian, being assimilated like the Borg. But when my wife came to America for a while, she had to go to the doctor for something, and the doctor charged her $300. She's like, I want you to know, this is the first time I've ever paid for a doctor in my life. And she was actually like a little bit insulted, and I can't blame her. You know what I'm saying? Why don't politicians understand that? Because they've got health care. They got all the health care in the world, the best health care, single payer, right? All that good stuff. And they don't understand why we're upset that we don't. It's like, well, then just go get it. No, it's not that easy. When you live in a certain class of things, it's like people who eat organic food, all right? People who eat organic food don't understand people who can't eat organic food. But if you can eat organic food, it's because you're very wealthy. You have a good amount of money that you can afford to have that kind of lifestyle and the lifestyle that revolves around it. So some people can't afford to eat organic. So it's that classist kind of thing, all right? So same kind of thing, exact same kind of thing. When I say that people who are doing these movies, they're not fans of the properties. You know what I'm saying? They're fans of making money. So when a movie fails, like, does anybody say that Ryan Reynolds was not perfect for that role? Every single, myself included, every single one of us said, holy crap, they cast Ryan Reynolds for that movie? Because originally DC execs wanted to hire, look it up and prove me wrong, wanted to hire Jack Black to do that movie. You're going to tell me that would have been a better choice, to have fat Jack Black playing the movie? Like, they showed a picture of him and he's just like, that stupid Jack Black. There's a reason why Jack Black doesn't exist anymore, all right? Jack freaking Black, all right? School of Rock, he was great in that. And then he just kept being Jack Black. He's one of those, one-trick ponies, right? He's a three-legged dog. There's only but so much that he could do. He doesn't have a range, and they wanted him to play that freaking movie. Are you kidding me? This shows they have no idea what the fans want. That's why when DC finally said, okay, we're going to bring Jeff Johns on in a supervisory role. Sure, if you literally say that he is the boss and that his word is law, then I'll be happy. But when you still say that Zack Snyder has as much say as Jeff Johns, I'm not impressed. You want to know who Kevin Feige is? Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel Cinematic Studios, he's a fan. That's his only qualification for what he does. He acknowledges it himself. He's a fan of comic books. That's why he's so good at what he does. Think about it. Everybody said, Fox to this day, all right, still says, nobody wants to see Wolverine in his costume. Meanwhile, all of his fans on social media and everything are like, why isn't Wolverine in his costume? Why can't they put him in his costume? We want to see him in his costume. And they're like, no, they don't want to see it. Black leather, that's it, and turn down the contrast so everything looks dark. Shut up, all right? Ryan Reynolds came in and said, I'm going to take Deadpool, I'm going to put him in his costume, shut up. And it took how many years for him to finally do it? And he did it. Best damn movie that Fox has ever done in the superhero genre. It shows that they don't know what they're talking about. It's a different class, a different elitist system where they literally don't get us. So when we complain about like a Ghostbusters remake where it's not a continuation, they say this is the new one, dude, shut up. Just, ugh. So yeah, okay, tangent. There was a tangent. Because he's Deadpool. His Blackest Night has gotten brighter in Marvel. Okay, can't really argue with that. Can't argue with that. Who did more damage, Snyder on DC or Abrams on Star Wars? Oh, no, Snyder on DC. Come on, man. Abrams on Star Wars, like, that's one of those things where he did, and he worked with other people. That's something else. They just released recently that the guy who's doing, I can't remember his name right now because that's not the video I was planning on doing. Mind you guys, I'm only doing this for another 15 minutes because it's Free Comic Book Day, and I'm about to go and meet some incredible artists for Free Comic Book Day and get a couple of comic books signed. Case in point, the guy who did these three beautiful lenticular colors, yeah, I'm going to go and meet him and actually get them signed. Yeah, and the thing that I'm most upset about is that part 2 to The Flash, issue number 22, comes out Wednesday. and I'm meeting this guy today, so I can't get him to sign that, and I've got to try and hunt him down at some other point and get him to sign that. So, yeah, sorry, priorities. Anyway, the heck was I saying? Abrams did a great job. Recently, somebody said, listen, I know that you want to have Ray flying off with BB-8, but here's the thing. I kind of need BB-8 for something else. Could you have him fly off with R2 instead? Could you have her fly off with R2? Because R2, and when I'm doing my movie, I need R2 to meet up with Luke, not BB-8. And she said, sure. So, excuse me. He said, sure. I mean, like, do you think Zack Snyder would have literally been like, psh, screw you. I'm doing my movie. Why are you even talking to me? Who are you? Right? So, I don't think that he would have worked with anybody on any of that stuff. Because his mind is set, and try changing his mind. I have a vision. Maybe he'll go blind. That was actually really rude. But, let's see. It's obvious answer. Blah blah blah. Not blah blah blah. Sorry. But they are planning on doing a Green Lantern Corps movie. We'll see how that works. We'll see how it works. John Hamm would be an excellent Hal Jordan. I don't know who John Hamm is. I'm gonna have to point of reference. John Hamm. Okay. I'm going to look him up. Ryan was great. Jack Black is Green Lantern. Laugh my effing A off also. It had to be announced April 1st. Had to be announced on, what do you call it? Practical Joke Day, April Fool's Day, right? There's no way. It's true. I believe it was supposed to be some sort of weird version of Green Lantern. Kevin Feige love. I hope they spelled his last name right. Feige's it looks like Feige, right? But it's Feige. My earlier question answer is JJTFS ruined the saga, in my opinion. I don't think it ruined it. I think it was a really good way of bringing on new people, like new fans. Because think about, Spider-Man in Civil War. Hey, you guys remember that old movie, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back? And the, Iron Man and all them, like, how old is this guy? I don't know. I didn't do his age check. Like for us, saying it's not that old. But for somebody as young as Peter, like a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, yeah, it's like, you remember that really old movie? Shut up, man. Shut up. Right? So, similar thing. Let's see. TFA, the Geek Fortress heading out now. All right. It is Free Comic Book Day. Got to do my rounds. Great convo. Looking forward to Saturday. Okay. He says Saturday. He's going to be there Saturday. And Geek On. Leia not hugging Chewbacca is unforgivable to me. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you on that, Dick. Go get your comics. Take care. Adios, muchachos. So, Bill, now we can talk crap about DC even more. All right, Peter. Oh, man. Anyway, so, yeah, just as far as Guardians of the Galaxy, though, is concerned, I think this was just one of the absolute, hands-down, perfect movies to throw in there and just shake it up a little bit, Just, it didn't have to have all the ties and the bonds to everything else. It just didn't have to. Also, this is my first time being able, by seeing this movie, this is the first time I got to see Thor Ragnarok trailer on a big screen, which is just, it's like I saw it again for the first time. I can't wait to see that. You are kind of evil. What do you call it? I'm so looking forward to that movie. I'm going to have to start doing, I actually just had a very, very brief conversation with Walt Simonson, who is the creator of the very first, I'm not going to even pull out those comics right now, but the creator of the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest run of Thor ever, and that's what most of this movie is based off of. There's a little bit of World War Hulk in there, which is Greg Pak, but a lot of this is also based off of the Walt Simonson run, which, if you wanted to get Thor done right, you base it off of Walt Simonson. So, yeah, and we don't have Natalie Portman in there trying to hog everything up. And if the story's not about me, I don't want to be in the story. That's fine, Natalie Portman. Look, you're a hottie, but we don't need you in the damn story either. Have you ever gone to a Comic-Con and been Jane Foster, like for a comic convention? Have you ever gone to a comic convention and been Padme and shown your fans any love? No. Screw you. Goodbye. So we're not, go back and make your stupid little girly movies. All right? If you like your girly movies, I don't have a problem with that. But we don't need you in our cinematic universe. We are a very isolated cult of personality fans. We're not interested in that self-centered, egocentrical nonsense. Peter, all jokes aside, you guys should do the JLA review together. It would be cool. We're both actually from the same city. Actually, he's from South America, but we both met each other actually, like personally, hug and everything in New Jersey. But I moved up to Canada, and he's still in New Jersey. We don't get the chance to see each other, but we will try and do it. We're going to do a Skype review together for this. We'll see what happens when JLA comes out. If my paperwork is all in order and I can go back and forth between Canada and New Jersey, easily, because right now I'm on a work permit. And it's weird, but a work permit in the States or in Canada, if you're in the country where you have the work permit, nobody's going to harangue you. But crossing the borders, they could give you a hard time. You know what I'm saying? They could actually harass you or whatever. And that is not a right to come back into the country. So sometimes they will purposely hang you up on the American side and on the Canadian side. They will purposely hang you up for a couple of hours just to show you, you're supposed to be here to work. If you're going to be here to work, you do what you got to do. But if you're going to be, traveling back and forth, we're showing you that we don't want you traveling back and forth like that. Either stay or go. So I don't really want the harassment, like all that nonsense. So once I actually get my my PR, my permanent residency thing, it's called landing papers here. It's called a green card in the United States. So the equivalent of a green card here, then I'll have the right to travel back and forth without any real harassment, and then we're good. Yeah, no, Canadians actually don't say that in Greater Toronto area. The more city dwellers outside, yes, I'm sure they will say a lot. It would be like being in Alpha Flight. Or Wonder Woman. Yeah, I would really like to do Wonder Woman. I'm hoping that, we'll see. I'm actually, or both, yeah. I have good hopes for Wonder Woman. And I know there were a lot of people who got mad at other people because they said, that it's on. Oh, hey, Nerdicky. What's going on? Which Nerdicky is this? Which Nerdickist is this of my 4 favorites? But, Peter Kent, you feel like a racist? Why? What do you call it? But, obviously, if you said that, you wouldn't have really meant it. But, what do you call it? Anyway, Wonder Woman. They said that it seems to be as though it were based on Captain America: The First Avenger. I had been saying it for a while that they should, just simply because this is new grounds, right? DC does not have a good immediate history with the Zack Snyder films and whatnot. Suicide Squad did a good job in promoting that, but they didn't. It didn't really knock it out the park. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't knock it out the park. And yeah, I'm really upset that Star Trek Beyond did not get that Oscar, whatever the heck it was called, the Oscar for Best Makeup, because I understand why they gave it to Suicide Squad. It's a way of indoctrinating and saying, okay, here we go. Look, we're willing to start, giving nods to superhero movies for the first time, and that's a very good thing that they're doing. But just talking about, that particular one, when you had a movie like Star Trek Beyond, if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. It's not just Jalia, the girl with the white makeup and the black paint on it, the tribal markings, tattoos. I do reviews on those comics also, and I love those comics. And Jalia is in the comics right now, so much love. But there was so much makeup. There was the girl with the back of the head that opened up, and she hid the communicator inside there and everything. There was so much great makeup in that. It was fantastic. And for them to just ignore that to give something to any other movie that wasn't up to snuff with that, I was really upset with that. Nerdicus Dave, hey, Nerdicus Dave, what's going on, brother? I guess I didn't give a plug to Nerdicky in this one particular guy. Guys, if you want to see if you want to see yours truly playing a really awesome game called Open Legend, love for Open Legend also, it is exactly like it sounds, an open video game, an open role-playing game where it's like pen and paper, like Dungeons and Dragons. You're shaking funny shaped dice, like Dave would always say. Go and check out Nerdarchy, nerdarchy.com. I'm actually a writer over there. Every Monday I put out an article. I just put out one about Dune, and I usually talk about comic book stuff on there. So you want to see me writing articles, go to nerdarchy.com. There's a whole bunch of really great writers over there. They actually have award-winning writers over there also. Believe me when I say, if you like my stuff, that's cool, but there are much better writers over there also. On top of that, go to Nerdarchy on YouTube and forget about it. The fifth edition Dungeons and Dragons, that is the home of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons there, more than the Dungeons and Dragons website as far as I'm concerned. On top of that, they have live chats every day of the week except for Sunday, and I'm sure that'll probably wind up changing one day soon too. They play a lot of games there. They talk about different role-playing games. They have interviews 5 days a week with famous people. They just had Stranger Things. They just had an interview with one of the cast members there. I can't remember his name right now. I'm sure Dave will put it in the chat. But what do you call it? Yeah, forget about it. Like a whole bunch of really good stuff over there. In the meantime, every Friday at noon, I'm playing a game of Open Legends there, where I'm playing a kobold who's paralyzed but uses telekinesis to be able to walk and then also hurt people when I have to. Really good stuff over there also. But anyway, yeah, sorry, I get off the subject once in a while. I got to stop looking at the chat for a minute. Wonder Woman, I think, is going to be great. I'm hoping that I will have my landed papers by then so I can go over and hang out with Lewis, Geek Fortress, go and see the movie together, you know what I'm saying, and then just sit down and have a live chat. Do it on his channel, do it on my channel, whatever, and then just talk about these movies as they're coming out because, yes, Lewis and I think are in really good sync and have very good differing opinions. Plus, he's a hardcore DC fan, knows almost nothing about Marvel. I got to put it out there. He knows almost nothing about Marvel. So, obviously, he's going to be leaning towards DC. But that's a really good thing. That's a really good thing. You know what I'm saying? If you want a good bit of... like opposites attract, right? And I know more about DC than I know about Marvel, but I know the hell out of DC. You know what I'm saying? So I can hang with whatever he's saying. Sometimes he will say something like when he's talking about Dr. Fate, I'll be like, I actually didn't know that Dr. Fate could do that. You know what I'm saying? At the same time, he didn't know that Hawkman's son was a version of Dr. Fate also. So we're good. We're good on that. But anyway, I would really love to be able to do that and just hang out. David Harbour from Stranger Things. Yes, he actually had an interview with him, which was awesome. And it's actually the coolest freaking Twitter conversation that these two had. He's like, hey, I heard you're a D&D fan. Would you want to do a live podcast with me? And he's like, I don't know. Roll your what's your AC? Roll to hit. And if you get above a 10, yes, I will. I'll do a live podcast with you for 20 minutes. And he wound up doing double the time because, forget about it. The live chat was great and everything. It was really good stuff. But I read about the whole First Avenger thing. Peter Kent, yes, it's looking like it's going to be freaking awesome. Sheriff Hopper, yes, he played Sheriff Hopper in the thing. She was the best part of BVS in a movie that just didn't make a lot of sense. Batman vs Superman. Wonder Woman really did do a lot. I am thinking that it's going to be. I'm thinking that the movie's going to be good just because, again, they're following a template that works. And it's going to be a separate movie. It's going to be in World War I as opposed to World War II, which is different because Wonder Woman comics like Sensational Comics issue number 8 and all that good stuff, it was the World War II era, all right, that she was made, you know? But, in fact, she was kind of made, in a sense, as an answer to what they were starting to do in Timely Comics. At the time, they were Timely Comics before they became Atlas Comics, before they became Marvel Comics. So, yeah, anyway, okay, guys, honestly, Free Comic Book Days, for me, it's about to start here. It's 11 o'clock here to start, and I've got 26 minutes to get there. So I got to shower up really quick and go. I can't be stinky for Jason Fabok. He's going to sign my totally awesome Flash and DC The Button comics, Batman and the Flash. So anyway, guys, yes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to do another podcast tonight. I'll do it live. I'll talk about this stuff a little bit more. And yeah, I'm going to be talking about the Free Comic Book Day comics that I get today also. One of them is going to be Secret Empire Free Comic Book Day issue, which is different from issue 0 and issue 1, which was already released. It's going to be some really good stuff. Again, guys, I'm going to do spoilers on it, but I'm telling you right now, get the comic. It's free. You walk in, you'll see the comics there in any comic book shop. They're free. It'll actually say Free Comic Books Day, free comic. They cannot charge you for these comics at these comic book shops. They're not allowed to charge you for these comics. They get them free. They give them to you free. So there's specific issues of comic books that are meant for this day if you've never actually been to a comic book store or whatever, or been to a comic book day. First day in May, every single year. But the Secret Empire Free Comic Book Day issue, the last page, I saw the last page, and what it means for an evil Hydra-controlled Captain America, changed by the Cosmic Cube. Holy crap. It's going to open so many questions. Greatest storyline, in modern day. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to spoiler the heck out of it, talk about what it actually means, the implications for it in the future and forever. It's going to have a lot to do with Marvel history. Anyway, guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, class dismissed. Now you get to watch me trying to turn this thing off. All right. Bye, guys.